it's been a real privilege for me to spend a few days in Bhutan, a country I've always wanted to visit, but never previously had the chance. And this time, I was able to meet with the leadership of Bhutan, which is, of course, a monarchy. The fact of the being mother's presence and the fact of government minister's presence at the conference made a great deal to me. I don't confess to be an expert on Bhutan. I'm an outsider, a visitor, but I think I can bring my life's learning in the law, specifically constitutional law, and also in financial services, and also in environmental policies and ecological policies to bear, hopefully for the benefit of this country, which would reverberate beyond the boundaries of Bhutan, because many of the issues we tackled are global issues. So taking climate as one example, it respects no national boundaries, and we only have one planet. There is no plan B. We have to make sure that plan A works, and we need to do our best to ensure survival of the human race, ensure survival of the ecosystem that we live in, this thin biosphere which covers our blue planet. And we don't have much time left to do this in. We owe this to ourselves as a moral duty. We owe this to future generations. I don't believe there's a spaceship coming to take everybody off to some imaginary planet elsewhere, definitely not Mars. I don't buy into these utopian, possibly quixotic schemes. We need to treasure this one planet, and we need to establish a system which is equitable. So it's not just the powerful, the wealthy who stand to gain. We need to be inclusive, and we need to make everybody part of this process. And I want to go beyond the human race, beyond Homo sapiens, because we share this beautiful planet of ours with myriad other species, both animals and plants. And I, for one, believe that animals are sentient beings, so that we can't treat the animal kingdom or members of the animal kingdom as lesser beings just because they don't speak a human language or they don't speak English, and therefore they're off our consideration. That can't be right. Indeed, we know that many species in the animal kingdom are way more intelligent than Homo sapiens. Whales, for example, we're just starting to learn their language. Not very well, of course, but we're making a start. And how would we feel if whales were to say, because human beings can't speak whale language, therefore they are lesser beings? I don't subscribe to that type of supremacist thinking. So when we look at how human beings organize societies and what they consider important, one glaring anomaly is the emphasis on wealth, finance, money, which are all human constructs. Is there such a thing as a currency that whales use? Answer no. I mean, and do they deserve to live and flourish? Of course they do. Now, we have these constructs which are part of the fabric of our financial reality. And obviously, we can say nothing wrong with that, because without those financial constructs, we couldn't function as a society. But those constructs, like currency, wealth, and so on, the US dollar, have also to be inclusive. So, are human beings lesser beings if they have less a less amount in the bank accounts? That's a very strange notion, and it's not a notion I would readily subscribe to without questioning it very deeply. Now, there is an opportunity in this world we live in with polycrises confronting countries, societies, and the human race as a whole to rebuild. In crises, there is destruction, and following destruction, there is also rebuilding and creativity. And in that renaissance, I think we should explore how we can build more just, more equitable, more inclusive societies so that the 50% of the wealth of this planet is not controlled by 0.01% of the population. Why should, for example, a country like the US, which has 4% of the world's population, control 50% of the world's wealth? That's just one example. There are many other glaring examples. I don't want to, as it were, focus on nationalities. That is not the point here. But I do think there is room for the human race as a whole to look afresh at how we organize ourselves and look deeply into questions of equity, including social and financial equity, in looking at development and different stages of development. And there is clearly a moral duty, since we're all human beings, to help the less fortunate amongst us. And beyond the human race, as I mentioned earlier, we should not treat the animal kingdom and members of the animal kingdom as dispensable. And we should not, as it were, treat members of the plant kingdom as dispensable. So we can't say, oh, just because I don't know how to communicate with trees, I'm going to deforest vast tracts of land in order to cattle ranch or in order to plant wheat or millet or rice. I think we need to think deeply because the planet Earth is unique. It's also finite. And we, in the advance of technology, which owes its advance to human genius, bear a terrible responsibility not to destroy this spaceship we all live in. And it is a spaceship because it travels. And the urgency of that challenge is striking. We are on a cusp of either irreparable destruction or on a cusp to change for the good and the positive. So I'm really delighted for the opportunity to spend a few days in Bhutan to canvass some of these questions with my colleagues who also attended the conference. We are just scratching the surface of this challenge, and I think that we are embarking on a long conversation. And so deep down, I am optimistic that this is not an event which is a one-off, and we all say goodbye and never see each other again. On the contrary, I do think that we are beginning a long and meaningful conversation in the months and years to come. And this is an extraordinary, beautiful start to this process. Thank you.